So it looks like not only did the players get a lot of heat from Nick Sirianni, okay, offensively, defensively, but this defensive coaching staff got a earful from Nick Sirianni this week. And apparently the rumors are he targeted Jonathan Gannon in these meetings, okay, on the scheme. Piss poor play, okay, not utilizing your strengths in these players. Talked about Fletcher Cox, and I don't know why they're talking about Darius Slay so much, but I mean, Slay has been playing great. I think our corners and Avonte Maddox and Javon Hargrave have been playing great on defense. Really, the only three players I think are playing well in this defense so far. So, obviously, because of this loss to KC, and Nick, laid it down for the defensive coaches and, Jonathan Gannon. And it seems, quote unquote, that Gannon didn't get the message. Okay, Gannon mentioned earlier this week, that Cox is playing, Fletcher Cox is playing fine, and there's no philosophy, that they're just running what they're running, and this defense is not going to change. I mean, there was just a lot of things in question. I mean, if Gannon has a problem, and if Gannon is not going to be sincere, look, I'm not saying throw a player under the bus or something like that, but at least with Jim Schwartz, he wouldn't sugarcoat it. He wouldn't really call out a player, but he'd say, "Oh yeah, we're struggling defensive line," or he wouldn't even, he would at least say that. But this right here with Gannon, he just at least say, "Oh, well, we're struggling on the defensive line, or linebackers aren't," you know what I mean? So at least if he said that, I would feel more comfortable to say, okay, at least he knows the issue and the problems. I mean, at least Sirianni is more humble about the offense, and he'll say, "Oh, my play sequence, even after the 49ers game, my play sequence was bad." So he's humble towards it. I mean, I have to give respect towards that. I mean, we're still losing, but it's still not good at the end of the day, okay? The defense hasn't done much in 3 weeks. Did they play better against the 49ers? Sure. They played horrible against the Cowboys, horrible against KC, and even for the Falcons game, penalties were saved on our side, their side. It didn't really matter. I mean, we gave up a lot of yards on the run. I mean, it's bad. But when you go into a 49ers game where you have 3 linebackers with double-digit tackles, okay, and honestly, you have a defensive tackle in Fletcher Cox that's not doing much of anything, and you lose Brandon Graham in this defensive line. You lose a voice, you lose leadership, and you lose a really good edge rusher. We don't have an edge rush right now. Okay, Josh Sweat is getting less snaps than Derek Barnett percentage-wise right now. Okay, so Gannon still won't play dime, which means he won't have a 6th defensive back. He won't have 6 defensive backs on the field. And Gannon has said that, okay, that he won't put a 6th defensive back on the field, okay? I mean, you literally left Tyreek Hill uncovered last week. I mean, literally you did. You had, even when you're on the goal line, when Casey was on the goal line last week, middle of the field, you dropped your safeties back 15 yards. And your linebackers you're putting your team you're making yourself look really bad. You can't even, I can't even blame, if the players are already bad, okay? If some players are just not good, which our linebacker core is not. Eric Wilson, supposedly our best linebacker, is the worst graded linebacker in the NFL right now when it comes to tackling, which is one thing the whole team needs to work on, and obviously against the run has been horrible. Okay, just because a linebacker gets a lot of tackles, it doesn't mean that he's good, okay? It means he's all over the field making tackles, but is it past the first down marker? That's the question, okay? And obviously it's happened a lot of times. I don't even have to explain that to you guys. So you give up 3 touchdowns against KC. I mean, literally, you leave 3 touchdowns off the board offensively, but your defense has to, your offense was very productive, okay? Even if you don't score in the red zone, even if you messed up some passes, his defense couldn't get a stop. I mean, that's how that, and I know it's the Chiefs, I understand that, but this team could have played better defensively against KC, and that's definite. So it has been rumors this week, like I said earlier in this video, that Nick literally put out Jonathan Gannon. Okay, talked to the defensive coaches, and really ripped everybody defensively this week, coach-wise, player. I mean, you can't even put it on the play. I mean, you can have the best players on the field, which we don't. I think we have talent on defense. We're just not utilizing it? Where's the depth? There's no. We talked about all this depth on the defensive line. There's a whole bunch of things to really go into, which I've talked about a million times, and we know what the issue is. It's Gannon not making adjustments. At least if he made some adjustments, we'd be more successful defensively. Even though it doesn't look pretty and it's not perfect, we would have played a lot better than we played the past few weeks, at least as of right now. I mean, every team that looks at us right now, sorry, my face is frozen. Every team that we look right now is looking at us like they don't do anything. They don't change anything. They don't do anything different. Okay? It's just what it is. You got 4 defensive linemen. You got 2 linebackers, and that's all you're using. And that's all you're doing. You're not making dime packages. You're making it harder for your defense to cover speed receivers. I mean, to do it against the Chiefs, knowing what they have speed-wise with Harmon and obviously Tyreek Hill and some of these other, and Travis Kelce on top of it, which, I think some of these guys had a good day, but a lot of them don't. I mean, defensive line, there's nobody doing anything besides Javon Hargrave. Your linebackers aren't doing anything. Avonte Max is playing good. Steven Nelson, Darius Slay. Really the only players. The 1 year, and usually every year we have a pretty good pass rush with depth behind it, but this year we got, it doesn't matter how good your corners are playing. Like, your corners are going to give up a big play. But I can't blame the cornerbacks because you're not getting any pressure. So even if you play dime, at least you'll help with some coverage, at least. You can't put it on these linebackers at the end of the day. So I hope Nick ripped into him. Look, guys, I think Jonathan Gannon's on the hot seat. I don't care if it's going into the 5th game or not. I don't care how early the season is. The guy does not know how to make it. I think the adjustment part, like if you know you're playing this bad the past few weeks, like at least make some adjustments to where I'm like, okay, this defense is definitely, with my own 2 eyes, I'm not seeing this defense play any better. It's playing the same football. If you have no philosophy with this defense, you're not going to win football games. If you don't blitz, you're not going to win football games. That's another thing that really pisses me off, is not blitzing. So it's unfortunate, but, there's only so much we could do, and this is Nick Sirianni's pick, guys. Roseman didn't bring Gannon in. Nick Sirianni, he picked his coaching staff, okay? This is on Nick at the end of the day. It's on him. So, doesn't make him look any better either. So, a cornerback coach from the Colts that, could have turned things around, learned some things when he went to the Vikings before that. Gannon was with Mike Zimmer. What happened to the 3-4, 4-3 scheme, disguising coverages? There's so much that goes into it. But I'm glad that Nick ripped on these defensive coaches and really chewed out Jonathan Gannon. And it seems like Gannon's just not making changes. I mean, Gannon might be gone before we know it. I don't see him surviving the season. If he does, he's gone after this year. And look, I know people are like, oh, it's a young coaching staff, blah, blah. Yeah, I understand that, but it's bad, guys. Like, we have a defensive, like Kerrigan's not doing anything, Josh Wett's not doing anything. I mean, it's Barnett's getting penalties, and they're not even reprimanding him for the penalties that he's getting. They're not benching him. They're not lessening his snaps. I mean, they're not even doing anything. So it's kind of alarming at the same time. So other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think about Nick chewing out, Jonathan Gannon and chewing out this defensive coaching staff, which they definitely deserve. That's definite. Because really, they didn't help us. I mean, they didn't help us last game. I'm just going to talk about the KC game because they couldn't make a stop. They couldn't get a stop last game. I mean, you couldn't even make KC punt once. So it's a problem. So other than that, guys, that's it. I'll see you guys later. Chicks, what up? Follow us live. Peace out, guys. Peace.